Afternoon, team. Good afternoon. So I'm just gonna hop right into things and
What's going on?
not too much, not too much, not too much. Happy holidays to everybody and celebrate. And let's just kind of we'll just hop right into things and keep it moving. All right. By watching or reading this, you're saying you understand the following. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not trading advice. This session is solely for educational purposes. There is significant financial risk associated with options trading, and I'm not liable for your wins or losses in the market if you decide to act on this information. All right, so let's just hop right into how the market ended last week. So on Friday, as far as options flow, on Friday, MU Bye-bye, SMH, Tesla, and TSM had the top call options flow. 1 second here. Let me just make a note for a second. This makes sense, though. A lot of it makes sense. And 1 second, just making a note. And on the put side, we had Apple, FSLR, Pfizer, Gold, IBIT. For the week, the top call options flow went into NVIDIA, EEM, Tesla, TER, Apple. And on the put side, MSTR, AMD, Meta, AVGO, and PDD. Oh. All right, so just gonna hop right into profits, man. So congrats to everybody who had a great week. Everybody who followed the process had a great week. I didn't alert too many trades last week. I didn't need to, just a few trades. And one of the trades that I alerted was a meta put. As you can see, the team did pretty well on that trade last week. And this was a trade before then. So we walked down the meta 525, sold them, waited for the retest, and then got the 515s and swung them for a few days until we got the big drop that we were looking for. Just following the process and letting the chart tell the story. How we walk price down around here. So got that done, burnt it down. Yeah. So let's move on. Oh yeah. So then here go our so we got a different section of the community for our YOLOs, So like again, we got our actual trades that get alert that are alerted. But then we got our YOLOs, our YOLO lottos. So any earnings trade, I call them YOLO lotto trades. They just like parlays, they're risky and you want to use when you're in parlays or YOLOs, you use house money for those, right? So that's what these were, the UNH play. But I mean it was strategic planning that we did for this particular trade though. We made 14 bands with less than $500, and if some people made over 7 bands with about $200, but it was a pretty good trade. I told everybody to grab multiple puts because I was looking for a surprise on UNH for earnings, and it played out to perfection, But it was a YOLO. But yeah, we do pretty well with YOLOs around here, though. Pretty strategic with them. But shout out to everybody who was in the trade, and just had to highlight that for this week. All right, so let's do a profit summary. So from January, now let's be clear. So these right here, these are the actual call outs. This is not the YOLO trades. We got a separate column for those, right? So just for everybody who grabbed just one contract per trade alert from January 2nd through the 16th of April, again, one contract per trade alert delivered a net profit of over 25K, $264, averaging 188% per trade with an ROI of over 10,000% on the $250 membership and 14,000% on the 175 membership. So we be killing it. And again, this is on one. And the reason I always like to stress that is one contract per trade alert, because I see a lot of people posting these contracts making a lot of money, but they're risking a lot of money, and then you can't really, like, I fired my job several years ago, like over 5 years ago. So I've been, trading full time. But if you're going to trade like a business, if that's what you're looking to do, you have to, risk management has to be the most important thing. So being able to burn the market down with one contract per trade alert over and over again, it's a great it's a great thing to do, and it's a good accomplishment, and it's a great strategy, because what happens is, obviously, you can grab more contracts as you go along, but as the options trading Bible says, if you shouldn't trade with more than 20% of your total available cash to trade, because if you die, and we will, you die sometimes, you'll have 4 more lives left to get it right the next time. But a lot of people are crashing and burning and blowing their whole accounts every week because they don't have a strategy and whatever. So I like to prevent that with the team. So, we've been doing the one contract thing. Again, everybody got different account sizes and stuff like that, which is fine. But either way, you can make a whole lot of money just by buying one contract. Like I said, look, for the first 3 months before we got to April, we had already cleared 20 bands for Q1. So, and we ain't got to the individual profits for April yet, but we're gonna get there. But I just want to just point that out before we went on, because that's what we're doing around here. So everybody who's trying this out and looking to make some extra money or to fire their jobs or whatever, if you follow the process around here, you're gonna make a whole lot of money. Don't get greedy too quickly. If you just start making money, just still be conservative with it. Look, think about it. This is one contract per trade alert. We already cleared 25 bands. I know people who don't make 25 bands in a year, right? So for the first quarter, like I said, we cleared 20 bands per single trade alert in net profit. So that means when you subtract the losses from the wins, that's what it comes up to, right? So on track to 80 bands for the year. So that's a doctor's salary, more than a nurse's salary. So just when you think about it, and you're not in the market all day, you're just following a process. So if you're here to really make money and follow a process, you can be successful here. So I just wanted to point that out. All right, so just going through this. So these were our January profits. We cleared 4,600 in net profits for January. February, we cleared over $8,400, so $8,400 for the month of February, just buying one contract per trade alert, net profits. Again, you can see the wins and losses are mixed in here. March Madness, we had a great March Madness like we always do. We cleared 6,100 in net profits for March Madness. And now we're in April right now. And as of the 16th, we cleared 5,500 for the month of April. And as you notice, right, not even a lot of trades. And we already close to clearing what we did in March with less trades, like less is more. And you don't have to call out a lot of trades to make money. So we've already cleared that, we already over 2,000% ROI on the $250 membership, and over 3,100% ROI on the 175 membership. So we burning the market down. That's what we do here. And but then, like I said, so when y'all see some of these earnings plays, sometimes there are times where the whole team had a nice week, and I know this by the contracts that are posted. So I know if I'm a judge whether or not you fumbled the bag by whether or not you posted that contract and the options wins. And if I see enough contracts in there, I may say, you know what? Because the reason I'm telling y'all this story now is because the UNH trade. I was talking to KK about it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm UNH, and we're going to do this is what we're going to do, right? And I don't think we have to take a lot of risk on this. This is going to be a pretty good trade. Now, I had the whole team in the meta trade. We paid like $475 to get into that meta trade. That meta trade went to over $1,900, generating over $1,400 in profit. So I didn't see enough meta contracts posted, so it was hard for me to take that risk. I don't like taking a lot of risk with the whole team. So yeah, but the thing is, like, if I see the team, because just think about it like this: if you generated over $1,400 from the meta contract or from the meta trade, taking $200 to put in a YOLO That's house money. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was a hit or miss, you take that, you could do stuff like that. So I mean, if I see more contracts, I'll do more stuff like that. So we got the bonus trades and we got a whole nother category. So this again, like I said, for the year, for the whole team, we've already generated over 25 bands per single option. Again, just that means just grabbing one contract per trade alert, right? But just for the month of April alone, for my tippers picks, so I have a whole separate category. I created this because there are people in the group who make a lot of money and they like to send me tips. So when they do that, I give them extra plays and stuff like that sometimes. I just give them bonus trades. Like if I'm on vacation, I'm not trading. I want to just give them some bonus trades, or I just see something risky. I'm like, okay, the people they sending me tips like this, and I know they got extra money to burn. So if something goes wrong, they won't. I know they're not risking the family jewels on a YOLO lotto. So, but anyway, long story short, for the month of April alone, we generated over $29,000 for the tippers picks, right? So just for the month of April alone, we already cleared over 29 bands just for the tippers picks. And yeah, obviously that last trade had something to do with it, but I mean that was just 14 bands. We were still over 14 before on the tippers picks. So yeah, just pretty good, doing pretty good all around. So the reason I made a separate category for those because some people see us posting earnings trades on social media and stuff like that and be like, oh, well, they promoting that. Nah, we don't even be promoting the earnings trades like that. They're YOLO lottos. We burning the market down with our regular trades too. So I just wanted to make a separate category for this because we never really keep track of this stuff. But let's just hop into things really quickly, how to keep things going. All right, so market talk. Let's see one. So look, like I just said, man, we had a great week last week, but there are a lot of new people that I know that are joining, and so prior to this week, again, I don't know with how things going to be this week, but most of the time, since we started that free trial, only one person hasn't converted after being in here for a whole week. So I feel like anybody who has the intention on doing so after trading with us, they will because of how much money we make and how we burn the market down. If the market we don't, if the opportunities present themselves. But what I will say is everybody who joined, right? If you really want to be successful here, start with following the process. Look at this like a real job. It's going to pay you more than your real job if you look at it like a real job, right? And trust me and follow me. You got to start with that. There's a section when everyone joined, right? It kind of tagged you in a post, and y'all probably see that post over and over again. It tells you to start here. Click that start here and really go through what it's telling you to do. And make sure you check out the options trading Bible. Make sure that you check the trading checklist and just go through those steps in the start here because it's going to show you how everything works here. If you skip the process, what's going to happen is you're going to miss something and you're going to try to make this isn't like everything else. You can lose a lot of money and things can go really bad really quickly in options trading. But what also happen is you'll fall off the train, and then that very next trade will be the one that you should have been in, but you couldn't be in it because you pressing buttons behind the scenes. So now you don't have enough money for this trade, and it just so I don't want that to happen. I want everybody to be able to bank and have a great rest of the month of April and just for the rest of the year because we got goals for the rest of the year. We're gonna continue to meet these goals. So look at this like a real job. Look at this like orientation. Make sure whatever you do, go through that, start here, and just make sure you analyze it and go through everything that it's going to tell you where everything is. If for any reason you can't find something, go back to that start here and look first, and then let us know. Then we can help you. So, but yeah, it's just a lot. Just make sure that you take it all in. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But think about it like this: if all you have to do is follow the process to make money, if you can't do that, then you in your own way. So that's all I want to say about that. KK, you got anything you want to add?
Um, yeah, we are all, I mean, everybody, if you're a trader or a new trader or somebody that's been trading, like our community, we're very serious about what we do. We really want to help people. Antoine's like a phenomenal mentor. Um, and we just want everybody to just kind of follow follow what the process is here. And like he said, starting with Start Here is going to really help you. And we're willing to answer questions. But if there's a question that we know is answered in the Start Here, you're probably not going to get that type of assistance, because we want you to be self-sufficient. That's the only way you're going to be successful on your own. Because when at the end of the day, I'm not pressing any buttons for you. That's going to be you. I'm not going to know what's your best time to get out. I know what my best time is to get out of trade, but I don't know what yours is. So, we want you guys to really focus on all of those things. I just remember like I said, Antoine's like a phenomenal mentor, and he really pushes us to be successful. I remember my very first trade here, and it was a meta trade. It was like, I think it was like maybe $500, something around there. And I got into the trade, like he called the trade out, and I don't know what happened, and mind you, I had never traded before. I didn't know anything about trading, but he's somebody that I knew, and he introduced me to it and said, come and join the community. So the place started going down, and it was probably down like a couple $100, and I'm like, what is happening? So he's like, chill, let it breathe, chill out. So I'm like, okay, so we ended up, I believe we swung that trade. And the next day we were still down, and he was like, look, if the trade doesn't come back, I'm going to give you your money back on the trade. And I was like, he was like, look, that's how much I believe in the trade. Like, it's going to come back. And it definitely came back and went up 100%. So I ended up being down 200 and selling the trade for over $1,000. So, he knows what he's doing, and he's somebody definitely that you should listen to and really pay close attention to him. I'm like a sponge when I hear him talking, because I want to soak up everything. As far as us as a community, I think that it's just best for everybody to really work together. We have a lot of people in here that trade really well and are willing to help, but we want us all to kind of be focused on the same goal, and that's making money. So, bring your thoughts, bring your ideas to the crew. We would love to hear them. Now if people start telling you things, be prepared for that too, because like I said, it's a lot of people that know how to trade. So, they might bring some things to your attention too. So, be a sponge, take advantage of the time you have here. We're gonna make a lot of money. I know that. We make a lot of money around here.
All right, and I want to just add on to something you just said. Well, not really add on, but just kind of, yeah, I guess add on. So yeah, so most of the people who signed up or whatever, like you, so you have access to our to live stream trading, right? So when I'm streaming live, you'll have access to be on there. So like last week, the meta trade that we swung on Monday night, we didn't sell those until Thursday, so Wednesday, right? But on yes, we swung them Monday, but then something happened in the market, pre-market. There's a lot going on with the tariffs and stuff. So the market is kind of up and down, and it's kind of headline driven, but you still got to follow the price action and trade your setups and stuff like that. So I knew pre-market that Meta wasn't going down, like it was on Monday, and we swung puts. So I knew I was looking forward to the stream on Tuesday, because those are the best streams, because most people don't ask questions and stuff like that. So I just hate to sit on the stream if we're not in the trade and I don't really have much to say. But I knew I would have something to say, because there was going to be turmoil in the market, and anybody can make money when the stock market is just going in one direction. When there's a melt up or meltdown or something like that, anybody can make money, even a caveman. So you can't really put too much into that. But on days where it's going to be it's going to be choppy, turmoil, or anything like that, those are my type of days, because not necessarily just a choppy day, because I'd rather not trade on choppy, lower volume days. But I'm saying if there's going to be some violence in the market, volatility, and you don't necessarily know how things going to play out, those are my type of days, because then you see who's who and what's really going on. So on Tuesday, we in these meta puts, and Meta started going the other way. So I'm on Zoom on the stream with the team, and I'm telling them, I'm like, man, well, just just follow me. You know, Meta has room up to here, and and the market started like it was running a little bit. And I'm telling everybody, we just was talking about different things, but long story short, I was just letting them encouraging everybody not to sell Meta. It has room to this level. Actually, this is a place where you should probably, you could, if you wanted to buy off this retest right here, you can. This is resistance. This was previous support. It's likely to come back down from here. We are good as long as the structure is intact. Don't trip. So a lot of people have, made the money, but the point was during those storms, during that high volatility. And that trade we paid, like I said, paid 475 for that trade. That trade that was down, it was down to like three something at that point. And we ended up making over $1,900 on those contracts, but we didn't sell them on Tuesday. I had levels, and it was doing what it was doing. It was breaking down. It was hitting the levels. It did everything it needed to do, and that's when we sold it, right? So, but yeah, so you'll have access to those, and you'll get alerts on the days when I am streaming, and if there's anything to stream, or and just kind of, if you do have questions, save those questions for, ask them in real time, so that way we can kind of help you in real time. Don't wait until something is or you're in a crazy situation, then you want to ask questions. And then, like I said, we got the trading Bible. I want the new traders to follow the trading Bible, and don't try to get greedy with your profits, right? Let's say you're in a trade and you just made more money, than you make in an hour at your job or something like that, right? Or you made a few $100s quickly. You could take that profit. You don't, if you're gonna hold, you can ask a question, but don't assume. I would prefer that you take the profit. If it's a nice profit, take the profit. If you're comfortable with that gain, take the profit. Just simple as that. But I ain't gonna go into too many details, because there's a lot of it in the trading Bible that you can actually go off of. And but yeah, it's gonna be a great week. We have pretty good weeks around here. I can't predict what the market is gonna do, but it's a lot of good setups that we have, and we got some economic data coming up. That should probably create some volatility in the market. I mean, does anybody else have anything else to say before I move on? Cool. Oh, before I get into trading setups, let's talk about economic data, right? So the Fed speakers for this week, we got Goolsby speaking on Monday at 8:30 a.m. pre-market. Got to watch out for Goolsby. We got Vice Chair Jefferson speaking Tuesday at 9 a.m. Harker speaking 9:30 Tuesday, so at market open. We got Kashkari speaking at 2 p.m. We got to watch Kashkari. Kashkari like to move the market, and typically goes against what the Fed, what the chair Powell, or speaks out of turn a lot and cause volatility in the market. So watch out for Kashkari. We got Kugler Tuesday, well, that's after the close. Goolsby again on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Waller, another one that you got to watch out for, that likes to shake the market up at 9:35. So 5 minutes after the market opens on Wednesday. We got Hammock on Wednesday. Well, that's after the close too. And we got Kashkari speaking again, but Thursday after the close. So watch out for them. As far as economic data, we got services PMI Wednesday, manufacturing PMI Wednesday, and new homes sales Wednesday. So all of that's pre-market, 8:30 a.m. And we got jobless claims Thursday, durable goods orders, existing home sales, and the consumer sentiment on Friday. So not too much economic data, but it's going to be that's going to be offset by earnings. So we got a large portion of the S&P 500 is reporting earnings this week. About 10% of the S&P 500 we'll be reporting earnings this week, so it's going to create a lot of volatility in the market from that alone. Now, personally, I'm gonna move on to the chart, since we are kind of going to segue into where I'm going with this. But the market sold off quite a bit. I mean, they sent Powell out there. Powell did what he could, but a lot of volatility in the market right now. So, and the VIX starting to cool off a little bit. I mean, it spiked, it cooled off. I mean, this is the VIX. So for those who don't know, the VIX is the fear gauge that if SPY is going up, typically the VIX is going down. It's like an inverse index or whatever, right? Indice, right? It just monitors fear in the market. You can actually trade it too. But so we use it to kind of monitor the level of fear. Sometimes the VIX and the market is going up at the same time, but fear is rising when that happens. Temperature is rising. So just keep an eye on the VIX. I mean, right now it's cooling down a little bit, but one headline from Trump can take things going the other way. I mean, and most of the S&P 500, QQQ, that tracks the Nasdaq 100 and the NIWM that tracks the small cap stocks, the Russell 2000. All of those are in death crosses right now. So I don't think this is over. And then a lot of other, if you notice, a lot of that set off that we had last week, I believe it had to do with a lot of offshore money coming out of the U.S. economy and bringing the dollar down. So, I mean, I don't think it's over yet. I don't think it's over. So right now, this is SPY, ETF that tracks the S&P 500. And you can see here, we finished with an inside on Friday, inside candle right here. So, and it rejected its non-EMA. So what I'm looking at right here, you see this broadening formation. So we are just in this range here. So we'll see exactly what happened. If you were thinking about trading this, what I would do is if it was to clear 532, like 532, what is that, like five? Yeah, I'll say over 532. Yeah, like over 532.05. I would you can buy calls on that and trade that up to 537.61. We got a gap fill up here also. So it's a few levels here to the upside that you can trade that to. I mean, if we get a continuation to the downside, so if we were to lose that 523.91, you can trade that down to 522.50 at 513. So that's a nice way down. And I mean, obviously it's a long way down that it could go. I'm not really trying to think of that. I like to cross those bridges when we get there, see exactly what the market gives us again. So it don't matter, even if you bearish, bullish, whatever, just follow what the price action actually gives you on the day of. But that's where SPY is. As you can see, we do have a depth cross here on SPY also. I mean, QQQ is kind of identical. Hold on. Same thing, same formation and everything.
The depth cross, which two EMAs are that? Just to clarify.
The 50, when the 50 crosses the 200, crosses below, and a golden crosses when the 50 crosses above it. So it's bearish when that happens. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can see that we got the same setup. It basically looks just like SPY right here, QQQ does right now. Because the same top 7 stocks are controlling, are the top 10 holdings, or the top holdings in both of them. The only difference with QQQ is it doesn't have like all of those other sectors in there, like the energies and consumer staples and everything else that can move the market, that can kind of hold the market. Versus we got some financial stocks in QQQ, but those are essentially tech stocks because you need the greatest tech in the world to run the banks, to protect the banks too. So, but yeah, I got the same setup on this. I'll say if you want to trade calls on this, wait till they clear 448, then you can trade this up to I mean, the target would be 454.20. That would be my first target up there, 454.20. We got a gap fill up here also, a bearish gap. If it was to lose that 44136, then you could trade that down to 437.82, and again, so on. But it got the same setup as SPY does right now. So we'll just see exactly what happens with the market. I like this setup, man. I like app loving, and I like this setup right now. Every chart tells a story, man. And if this was to break out, man, it's still under his 200 EMA right now. Nothing looks good. I mean, nothing is right now it's just nothing is looking good for I guess the market as a whole, right? But things happen, things happen. And I just like this setup on here. Hold on one second. I'm looking for this. There we go. Just look at this right here. I like a falling wedge. Falling wedges are bullish. So falling wedges are bullish. So, I mean, again, like I said, look at the price. We're gonna follow what the price action gives. Right now, though, it finished inside, just like the ETFs that I just named. But if we are able to clear 240, you can trade this to 245, 70, 76. That's the 200 EMA, and then possibly 259, 24. And these contracts are not are not cheap. App loving can be very expensive, but it's a really the contracts print, but it's a extremely volatile stock. I like it because it moves like Meta, and you have to really be skilled to trade those types of stocks because it's just just following what the market does. But it's going to shake you out if you really don't know how to read the price action and follow it. So I like those type of stocks. So, but just be careful if you're trading it on your own. And under 226, look for a move down to. Oh, I'm sorry, what did I say? Yeah, under 226, look for a move down there to 217 and then possibly down to 200. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something about this. I like that falling wedge, but this stock is in a danger zone to be honest, because if it loses 200, I mean it's already like this is a gap fill right here. It bounced off this gap fill here, off the in the middle of the gap fill. We got that reversal. Think it was some news where the overall market had news that day that caused it, that saved it. But it was in a gap fill and it has a long way down here. It's all the way down to like what is that, like around 270, around 175. So if it was to lose 200, well, lose 117, it gets a little a little violent. It can get a little iffy if it was to lose 217. So just keep it on watch. I mean, I like those types of moves. The volume would intensify, but just as long as the volume is there, I mean, we'll probably be watching it. And me, I'm gonna set a price alert here right now, just in case I miss it. Price alerts be coming in handy. So yeah, app love and keep that one on watch also. The platform. So yeah, so a lot of stocks finished inside. It was like low volume on Friday, and a lot of these stocks finished inside. So inside candles are indecision candles, and indecision candles are neutralizing candles. So price can go either way if it breaks out. So for Meta over 510, I'm gonna give it some margin. We want to clear 510 for Meta. We clear 510, then I'm looking for a move to 521.52, then 527.46. Meta like to move violently. A very volatile stock if it breaks out. And I like when it's in this type of range. And so if we were to lose 501, look for a move back down to 495, 489, and 481. But be careful around there because 500 is a psychological level, and bulls will fight for it around 500. So just make sure that if it loses that, so I'm gonna just say 50. I said 501, but let's just change that to 500 because it's gonna be, you got to give it some room, give it some margin. They will fight for it around that price level. So just be careful with it around there. And for Meta, let's go to Netflix. Netflix reported on Thursday, and the market was closed Friday, but and I think it's over 1,000. Right? It got back over 1,000. Let me just see right now where it was in the after hours before. 1 second.
It was like 1,006.
So it went as far as 1024 on Friday after the print. I mean, on Thursday after the print, but it finished like around, like you said, around 1006. So let's see where it opens. I mean, a nice open over 1,000, and they had a nice beat, and they don't report. This was the first quarter because they said last year they weren't going to report subscriber numbers anymore in 2025 unless something amazing happens. So that means unless they have a really big beat, they'll report them. But if they miss the subscriber numbers, or they're just so, they're not going to mention them. So they found a way to play with that right there. So but that's what they said. So But yeah, so I'm not going to really base this off of the setup that we see because of the fact that again they reported over the well after the close, and we had this 3-day weekend, and it's going to open over 1,000. So open over 1,000 should be pretty good for Netflix. But again, we got some targets that we could hit if that's the case. You see, the good thing about it is it's already been up here, so we're not in price discovery, but it just hasn't been up here often. So what I'm going to say is let's just see what happens over 1,000. Let's look for stabilization over 1,000. So if it's at 106, let's see if it stabilizes over that price level over 1,000. The volume was pretty significant on Friday too. What is that, a 213, no, 212 reversal up here, bouncing off that breakout area. So I mean, I like it. I mean, it looks good. Looks good. We'll see. Netflix is one of those stocks the day after earnings where you get a nice pump out of it. But again, we got to be careful because of what's going on. But what I will say is when the market was pulling back the other day, Netflix was holding up. So somebody knew something. They were buying it up. So we can get a significant move out of Netflix on Monday, possibly. But again, just be careful on Monday. Just wait for whatever happens. Again, I'm looking for stabilization over 1,000. Now, if in a perfect world, we don't know what's going to happen tonight with the Asian futures, so we can keep an eye on that, see how they open up, and see what happens tomorrow. But Netflix should be able to give us a pretty big move again, but I want to wait and see what it does over 1,000 first. But we do got some targets here, as you can see, if it was to continue to move up. But I mean, I'll say if it drops back under 1,000, then we can possibly make a move back down there to 973 and look for another retest off of that area first. But over 1,000, so I'm gonna give it some margin. So we got this 998.94. I'm gonna call that 1,000. Give it some margin, right? We got that area, and yeah, it looks the stock is pretty bullish. Stock is pretty bullish. We got some levels, and I think it's going to give us a pretty big move. But I'll wait for stabilization over 1,000, and then we can go from there. But just keep Netflix on watch. You see, we got let me see. Yeah, I think we take out the all-time high this week if the market plays nice. So if Trump plays nice with the with this tariff stuff, and there we don't have any we don't have any crazy economic data or anything. I mean, it could be earnings though. Earnings can drive things too. But yeah, but this was the first of big tech to report, and they had a pretty big earnings. And like I said, I feel like everything was pretty mute because a lot, market makers on vacation. Good Friday, market was closed, so a lot of people left already and went out of town. So we'll see what Netflix does on Monday, and if it can put the Nasdaq, put QQQ on its back, and take us and bring us out of this hole that we're in right now. Because these markets, they like to reset before heading into earnings season if it's going to be a bullish one. But I'm not really sure. We'll see how it happens. We're going to see if we get any guidance cuts for some of the other big tech stocks, and kind of see where things go. Looking forward to seeing what they're talking about. But yeah, so I wanted to just make sure I mentioned Netflix because they reported on Friday. Now, gold's still going up. We've been talking about gold for the last few weeks because it's defensive, and so this is an ETF that you can buy that tracks that you can use to play gold. You see, it's at all-time highs. I hate trading at all-time highs. But gold's been gapping up. It's been coming down, like I was telling y'all last week. It gapped down too. It gapped down Monday, and then it took back off again. So depending on what happens, if the market is bullish this week, then gold probably going to come back down and retest this 9 EMA wherever it ends up. But now that we got some new, one second, let me just mark this up first. Mark it up. So let's go mark this again. But yeah, man, I just feel like when you get something that's running up, like I just feel like gold is too extended. Put some time on it. Put like 30 days on it and short gold, man. I don't think that we're gonna stay down for much longer. And we'll see though. We'll see. We got to see because we're in uncharted territory right now. But I just don't think we stay long. We don't. The market always recovers. Even the worst of the worst, the market always recovers. People, I feel like a lot of these stocks, man, they too oversold at this point anyhow. But we're gonna see what actually happens. Time is your friend. But yeah, I think gold. I mean, gold can continue to run here, but we'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, as long as the market is going down, then gold will be defensive. And I'm going to show. I got to hit MU because at the top, there was a lot of flow going in MU on Friday. So I want to see what that's about. But I mean, it's bear flagging here on the daily. As you can see, it's been ever since it lost the 9 EMA here, it's been retesting it and rejecting it, retesting and rejecting. And we got this bear flag right here on the daily. So it could possibly go lower, but bear flags are to be broken if the market reverses, right? It was lower, it was down on lower volume, but they also, the chip sector overall was down too. So 1 second, and TSM reported on Friday, and that was down. So there's a lot going on with the overall sector, but 1 second. Slowly. So yeah, like I said, we got a bear flag here, so I would be careful with it. But if we get a move to the upside, we get a move to the upside. If you're looking to trade it, I would trade calls over 70.50 for a move. The first target would be 71.79, and then up there to 75, and then so on. Now, if it was to lose that 6,700, I'm sorry, 67, lose 67, you get a move down to 65 and then down to 61.50. Possibly. Now, listen, this is a bear flag. So let's talk about the bear flag for a second, though. The way bear flag set up is this. The way the bear flag would play out would be like this. If it was to play out, because again, we in it and it's been respecting it right now. So if it breaks out of this bear flag, whatever, and with volume, you get a nice move down, pretty nice, pretty significant move down on here. So with some additional levels, but we got to see what happens. A lot of call options flow went into there, but that doesn't mean that's short term. That doesn't mean it's short term. A lot of people get caught up in flow, but you got to unpack it a lot more to figure out exactly where things are going. So again, it's so many setups. We always talk about that. I can see this as a bear flag right there, but then I can also see this as a falling wedge too, or just it can be just ready to break out of this to the upside. Anything can happen. So again, just follow the price action. That's most important. See what it looked like on the week. Yeah, the week doesn't look too good either. Finish inside on the week, but yeah, that's MU, and I'm gonna hit PDD. All right. So when Trump had all of the tariff stuff going on, PDD was still getting around it because PDD is the parent company of Temu, right? And so Temu, y'all know what Temu do with Temu sells and stuff like that. I think that everything that's on Amazon, I think they sell it cheaper and is stuff like that. But they had this loophole where smaller items, cheaper items were getting through as a loophole and didn't have to hit and was getting by the whole tariff thing. Trump tightened that loophole like a week or so ago. And so Temu took another hit too off of that. And it kind of looked like that MU chart. I'm just saying, keep Temu on watch though, because I would just keep it on watch. This stock can actually make pretty big moves. The options aren't really too expensive. And right now we got a little 222 reversal here. It closed right here at a gap fill. So I'm gonna say over 94.24. You could probably make a move back up to 96.41. That's the 9 EMA. That's where it's been getting rejected. So that's where I would look to take profit, unless for some reason you get a continuation with volume. Look for setup on a lower time frame. Now, if we were to lose that 92.27, look for a move back down to 90, and then we got a gap fill. We got a bullish gap fill down here at what is it, at 90.50. So not 90, 90.50. That's what I would look for on that. But yeah, Temu, T-Mobile parent company is this right here. Let me check out Baba for a second. Since I'm talking about the Chinese stocks, yeah, it kind of looks similar. Also, as you can see here, for Baba, right here, rejected, closed, went up and rejected the 9 EMA, came down. So, yeah, so for this one also, what I would do is Baba can give you a pretty big move too. It's another one. It's a Chinese stock, Alibaba, for those that don't know. So I would say over 111.52. Look for a move. Nah, not 111.52. I'll say over 111.52. Over 111.52. I would look for a move up into. Let me see. Did we ever get back in there? Hold on, let me just see what this looked like. I ain't checked this chart before this meeting. Just let me cook. See. Yeah, so it's been under the 9 EMA for some time. So that's where I was looking to say until it cleared it. But over that 111.52 would take us over the 9 EMA. And I would just look for a move back up into this. The gap fill is right there. That's not that's not a good enough move for me. That's why I was looking for another target for it. I would say the 113, and then over 113, you can get it up to 115 and so on. But if we were to lose that 108.42, look for a move back down to 107.68, and then possibly back down to 103.37, and then our 200 EMA at 102.52. I mean, after the reject, we could come back down there. If you see the last few times, that's where it came back down and retested. So we'll see what happens though, and go from there. We see what's got it. Hit Tesla. Tesla is a very interesting chart right now. Beautiful bear flag, though. Beautiful bear flag. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, y'all know a lot has happened since the last last quarter. Elon is in a lot of stuff, man, and hasn't been doing well for the stock. And I know y'all, I don't know if y'all saw they delayed the release of the lower cost Model Y car. So that was supposed to come out, and they just it came out. I saw it was a headline on Thursday, I believe, that said they're delaying the launch of it, the release of it. So I know that could cause some more damage over the. We'll see what happens tomorrow with it. But this is the setup on Tesla, finished inside. I just say if you're looking to trade this over 244.34, look for a move to 249, and then from 249, look for a move to 249 and 260. From if it was to lose that 237.68, look for a move back down to 230.70, and then 219.76. Yeah, keep Tesla on watch. It's a nice one. We got a def cross on this one too. Let me just see what the week looked like inside. So we got the double inside. We got the inside on the day inside week. This could be an interesting play out. This can play out interesting. We'll see exactly what happens here for Tesla, but they got it pulling right here for it now. Yeah, so look, so like just last thing I want to tell y'all, man. So tomorrow is Monday. Again, Mondays are indecision days, but we had a long weekend, so we don't know what the market is going to do tomorrow. But like I said, everybody that's on here, make sure y'all check that trading Bible, because I typically stay away from the markets on Mondays. Those are the days that I hit the courts and stuff like that. But I'm gonna be around on tomorrow because we are in some trades that we swung. So so I'll be around. But just follow what's going on and keep an eye out for the market now. And just another thing for everybody else, if I on a Monday, if you're looking for trades and I don't alert anything on like Monday, it's best practice, just because I mean it's going to take a while for you to read the room. stick around, like come back around like the end of the day, like heading into the close, and then you'll likely get something. If I am trading, look for something later on in the day heading into the close. That's when I'll likely be trading if there's something else to trade. So we'll just see. We'll see exactly how it plays out. But again, I'm looking forward to this week. First, we got a full week, and everybody just enjoy the
I
rest
have
of
one quick question about that string that we're in.
Can we talk about that in the chat?
Yep, all right, man.
All right, cool. All right, I'll see y'all. And,
Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.
Appreciate you, bro. Have a
All
good
right,
day.
y'all.